December 5th, 2019. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 196 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, we all do stupid things. I mean, we all do them, right? I know
Me more than most.
We complain sometimes when people do stupid things, but we've all done it. I can think back to my life and some of the worst things that I've done. It's just terrible.
Yep.
But then sometimes you think, wow, how did this person do something so stupid?
Well, if you're going to try and shock me with somebody doing something stupid, it won't work because I see it every day of my life.
Okay.
Every day of my life.
Well, we're talking about Josh Shaw, who is an NFL player. He's a defensive back. He's played most of his career with Cincinnati. He's also played for Kansas City and Tampa Bay. And he's currently signed with Arizona, although he has not played for them. He's been on injured reserve since August. Well, he has been suspended by the NFL for gambling on the NFL. He made a wager through Caesars Sportsbook,
Okay.
a parlay.
Well, he wasn't trying to cover anything up.
Oh, that's the thing, not at all. No,
he went to the sports book and made a bet.
Went for the sports book, used his card, right, apparently, because Caesars knew who he was. He made a parlay bet, a three-team parlay bet that included betting against the Arizona Cardinals on one of the
Well, he's not actually playing for them.
No, he's not.
So he can't throw the game from the bench. So I don't see a problem with it.
But
and Arizona's terrible. So he's a smart bettor. I mean, he's not an idiot.
That's right.
He's stupid.
So maybe
he's not an idiot. He's stupid.
He's stupid. Well, so he's currently appealing the suspension.
Well, as he should.
Right, but
they always appeal.
Yeah.
Everyone appeals everything. Everybody appeals everything in the world.
If this suspension does go through, he will not be eligible to petition for reinstatement until February of 2021. They have suspended him for the rest of this season and the entire 2020 season. Yeah.
For being a smart bettor and betting against Arizona.
Well, let me ask you, Mike. Obviously, you can't have players betting on the NFL. I mean, I understand that.
Well, you certainly can't have them betting if they're playing in the game.
Well, certainly
because
not.
It'd be too easy to throw a game.
But do you think does the punishment fit this particular crime?
No, because he probably wasn't thinking. Because he's not playing, right?
Yeah.
So he's thinking, well, I'm not in the game. How can I throw it?
Almost 2 seasons. Well, I mean, he's been on injured reserve. So, he won't be playing until the 2021 season. But this is not a case where he was betting a ton of, from what I heard, it was maybe a few $1,000s.
Okay.
And it's not like he's betting a ton of money on a game that he's going to throw.
Yeah.
Right? Well, or, that there's some scandal behind why he's doing it.
Yeah, what's funny is there's probably people who say, well, he's on the team, so he could have some other teammate do something. Well,
sure,
if
of course.
That's the case, if my brother's playing on a team, I could have him throw the game and make a big bet. Anyone can do that.
That's what I was kind of saying on the last episode is if people want to get money down, they can.
Right.
Okay, so again, do you have varying degrees of gambling? I mean, there has to be some punishment, I agree.
Right.
But you think there can be some discretion because I think of some of the truly terrible things that NFL players have done, criminal things.
Yeah, we don't have time on this show to go into that.
Right, and their suspensions or whatever, if there are any suspensions, a lot of times they're slaps on the wrist.
Right.
And here's something that, yes.
Let's find the owner $10,000. He's a quadrillionaire.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but I think it's a little too much because, like you said, he wasn't thinking.
Right.
Is got to be it. I mean, it's stupid, but
he was in Vegas and he went to make a bet and he's like, I'm going to make a sports bet because he probably enjoys that.
Yeah, right.
And he just didn't even think, the Cardinals, they're going to lose this game.
A real scandal is somebody who is hiding the fact that they're betting.
Right.
And then they're going and they're throwing a game, or they're in it with other people or something like this.
Yeah, they're playing in the game, and then it's kind of the Pete Rose thing. He bet on his own team, but he evidently never bet him to lose.
That's what I've heard too. But at the same time, he was doing that secretly, right? I mean, through bookies, and he didn't want to.
Well, and he denied it forever, and then eventually, oh yeah, I did it. So. And I'm actually for Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. I think the punishment was way too severe.
I'm glad you brought that up because we have discussed this before. The name is Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the drive once.
Right.
It's not Hall of Excellence.
Right.
Right. It's
Hall of Good Morals.
Right. It is Hall of Fame. So if you're famous, you should go into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
If you're the guy who reached over and caught that fly ball when the Cubs were going to go to the World Series, and
he should be in the Hall.
He's very famous.
Right.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Bill Buckner should be in the Hall of Fame. Right.
That's right. Everybody knows who Bill Buckner is, even if they don't know baseball. So here's my thing. Either put Pete Rose in, because it's the Hall of Fame,
right,
or change it to the Hall of Excellence and Excellent Behavior, and keep him out.
Hall of Excellent Behavior. That's what they should change. They should all be, this is the NFL Hall of Excellent Behavior. This is the NBA Hall of Excellent Behavior. Nobody's in it. There's absolutely nobody in the NBA that qualifies.
Yeah, we're waiting for the first entrant, actually. The ballots go out every year, and then nobody gets voted in. All right. Well, anyway, this is an interesting situation, but I don't think it's that big a scandal because, like you said, it's part of a parlay. Right? It's, I don't think he won the bet. Right. I mean, it's hard to hit those 3 games.
That's the thing. Even if he throws his game, let's say he was playing and he throws that game, he can still lose the parlay.
Don't do it in a parlay.
Right. What was I thinking? A 12-team parlay. I can't buy that many people off.
Oh, well, just kind of as a side note, remember, Josh Shaw is the player who, when he was playing for USC, lied about how he suffered an ankle injury. I don't know if you remember this, but
I don't remember.
He had this ankle injury, and he claimed that he had jumped from a second-story apartment window to save his nephew who was drowning in a pool. That's what he claimed. And that, as it turns out, he had jumped out of the window trying to get away because the police had arrived after he had a really loud argument with his girlfriend. I guess a neighbor called the cops.
He was trying to run away.
And so that's how it really happened.
He shouldn't see, the thing is, second story, make it like 12 stories. If you're going to go for saving your drowning nephew, make it 12 stories. Yeah. And it was a 2-foot deep pool.
That's right.
His nephew was 1.
That's right. He actually landed in the pool.
Yeah. But it was a little kiddie pool.
All right. Well, hey, this last weekend, my wife and I went out to Sycuan Casino here. Which is, I don't know, a half-hour drive, maybe not even that far from.
From your house?
From my house, yeah.
I'd say it's less than that.
But we went out there because she really liked the property, and we had a nice lunch there, just kind of at their. It's not even really a coffee shop, right? Casinos don't really have coffee shops anymore, but it's the closest thing. The Viewpoint Neighborhood Kitchen, and they had like breakfast all day and that kind of thing, but it was nicer than a coffee shop.
And why did the world get away from the word coffee shop?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it used to be so easy. We're going to go to the coffee shop. And everyone knew that was like the 24-hour open all the time place where you could get, a wide variety of things. And now we've got to name everything. It's got to be some name.
We have talked about it before, especially at casinos in Las Vegas, how they're kind of disappearing. I really missed the coffee shop at Harrah's. Yes. That was a go-to for us. Almost every time we'd go there, right? And maybe just get a club sandwich or something and play Keno. Right. There was a lot of, the Keno runners were all over the place there. But.
Well, and my biggest gripe with Harrah's Southern California is the food situation is terrible.
Yeah, it really is.
And there's nothing really open now that's good all the time, that you can go to at 3 a.m. They don't even have a gift shop. They have a gift shop, but it closes at 9.
On weekdays, we found out it closes at 9.
And on the weekends at 12. So, if you're gambling on a Wednesday and you're staying over at the property and it's 11:30 and you go up to your room and you're a little hungry and you need a toothbrush and toenail clippers. Nowhere to get them.
Yeah.
You got to leave. You got to drive, into a town.
Yeah. Well, we had a good time at Sycuan. And after we ate, we went and played some craps. They only have one table. We've talked about it before. Harrah, Southern California, that's a craps casino.
Right.
But, some of these
There's
others
4
around
tables.
town. Yeah. But at Sycuan, they only had one table, a $5 minimum, $1,000 maximum. 5 times odds, strict 5 times odds. It's not full 5 times odds like we've seen before. So if you have, say, $5 on the line,
you can bet 50. And
you can bet.
You can bet 25, and that's it.
And that's it. Now on the 5 and 9, they'll let you go a little bit higher, so it's an even amount, right on your odds. So maybe 30
you
there.
Can go to 30.
Yeah, but otherwise, strict 5 times odds. No side bets, so no fire bet, no all tall small, nothing like that. No hot bets either, which we see a lot in California for some reason. I don't understand why.
Yeah, it seems like smaller casinos.
You'd think they'd want to offer that. Well, I guess, but it's a moneymaker.
It's such a high house
for them.
edge.
Yeah. It was a very friendly and competent crew. I was very pleased,
good.
actually. Yeah, and that's the most important thing to me. Now, they use cards similar to the way they do it at Harrah's, right? They've got 6 cards. Instead of them being like ace through 6, they actually have a picture of like the side of a die on each one.
A picture of a die representing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And they mix those up and then put them into the boxes corresponding to 1 through 6. I will say this. The boxman is in charge of the cards. So they've got a dedicated boxman at all times.
That's good.
They shuffled those cards so fast after a 7-out, Mike. You know how at Harrah's, it's this big, long thing where they wash it and very carefully put it out. I found myself not even realizing they'd done it.
Yeah.
It was so fast. They just pick them up real quick, boom, 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 and then just spread them out. It was so quick. That I wish they would do at Harrah's. There's no reason for all that. But
I'd like them to be shuffled quick. What I don't like is when they flip them over quick and put them back. Like the roll is a 5-2, and it's like 5-2, and before you even
and they push them forward, and you don't know what's. I will say at Sycuan they did do that very quickly.
Yeah,
that was pretty fast. I suppose if you asked them to, what was that, or go a little slower, they might.
Yeah, you just go a little slower so we can all see it,
yeah.
right? What's the hurry?
Yeah. No, that was the case there. But a good experience. Lost a little bit, and only played for a little while. But it was a good experience. Yeah, nice facility there. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get to some voicemails. First up is our buddy Vinny Chens.
What's up, Mark and Dr. Mike? This is Vinny Chens calling from Macau. My last night here in Macau, and it's been a whole lot of fun. Everything I expected and more. I will say that was quite surprised to see, the lack of 2 of my favorite games over here in Macau. Paigao, which, maybe it's not safe to assume that Paigao would be here in China, but can't find any Paigao poker or Paigao tiles anywhere in any of the casinos that I have stayed in or visited. Up until this last leg of my trip, I was having trouble finding a craps table. Stayed at Wynn Palace. There was no craps table to be found. I mean, really, every casino here is about 85% baccarat tables. But did move over to the Galaxy Macau, which is a much, much larger property, had a lot more variation of games, and lo and behold, there was one craps table that was open at noon every day. I played there the last couple of days, and, usually the crowd is pretty sparse, but when a hot roll gets going, the spectators definitely come and watch. And today was probably one of the more exhilarating crap rolls of my life. So maybe it was because I was here in Macau and I didn't understand what people were yelling at me, and the cheers just seemed that much louder as I was rolling. But I turned a pretty small bankroll into one of the biggest crap scores of my gambling career. The maxes here, Dr. Mike would probably hit them pretty quickly. The hard ways max out at 4,000 Hong Kong dollars, which I guess is close to around $500 or so dollars. And you can really place bets. The max you were able to do on those was 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is probably equivalent to maybe 1,300 or so American dollars. So we had a couple of numbers maxed out. I had the 8 maxed out. I had the hard 4 and the hard 10 maxed out. We rolled at least 45 minutes to an hour, and the experience was absolutely amazing. So just wanted to say that there is craps. It is alive here in Macau. If you guys do come visit, it is few and far between, but I know it's at the Galaxy. I know it's at the Parisian, and I hope one day you guys get out here to see it for yourself. Thanks for everything that you do. Bye.
Yeah, congratulations, Vinny. He actually
Yes.
posted on Twitter. He took a picture of his chips after that big session and
Oh,
posted
nice.
there. So, yeah, he had a pretty good run there. So, I'll tell you, I don't see the two of us ever going to Macau for a gambling trip.
No.
Based on everything that we've heard and just how long it would take to get there. And
We'd have to
the
be going
cost
to like
and-
Hong Kong for some other
Well,
reason.
see, that's the thing.
And then pop into Macau.
I could see maybe making a trip with my family.
Right.
That's not a gambling trip.
Right. Well, you could
but-
go to Hong Kong, like say
Yeah,
with your
right,
wife,
right.
and then, pop over to
Right.
Macau for the day.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
That would be something that might happen. But just going to go to Macau, no. I mean,
no, especially after Eric Rosenthal talked about it on Macau Cast, he was saying that, even on yesterday's The Better Life, he was talking about it again, how he was disappointed with the gambling there.
Right.
He enjoyed it, the service and everything, but he would never recommend it as a gambling destination.
right.
That
And
kind of thing.
that would be for us.
I
That
think
would
so,
be why
too.
we'd want to go somewhere would be for the gambling,
Yeah.
not for, the experience
Yeah.
so much.
Well, we've
Plus,
got-
I imagine that Pai Gow is a Southeast Asian game.
Oh, gosh, maybe. Now, I understand not having Pai Gow poker there,
Yeah.
but I am surprised to hear that he couldn't even find Pai Gow tiles.
Because I'm wondering if that's more, like a Vietnamese.
Well, but it's based on
maybe,
Chinese
Thailand.
dominoes, though, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good question. If anybody has been to Macau and has seen Pai Gow tiles, let us know.
Yeah, or
Seems
do
like they'd
they
have to
play
be
it in
somewhere.
China outside a casino? I mean, is it a game that's
Yeah.
played, at someone's house?
Yeah,
or
I don't
something?
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So if you want to hear more about Vinny's trip, listen to the most recent episodes of the 7 Out podcast. He talks about it quite a bit, and he plays some recordings that he made when he was actually there in Macau. So you kind of get that, fresh perspective. It's been very interesting. I listened to the first episode. I think they're going to release part 2, here coming up soon. So 7 Out podcast. Well, for a different perspective on Macau, let's hear from listener Nate, who also recently returned from there.
Hey fellas, Nate from New Mexico here with a report from Macau. I thought I would share a bit about my recent experience playing craps for a few days there. So craps in Macau is played exactly the same as anywhere else. The rules are the same and the game is called in English, but honestly it could not have felt more different. For one, the table minimums are generally very high. Table minimums in Macau generally are really high, so they average about $50 US and up for Baccarat, and the lowest I saw in Blackjack was like $40. Craps tables were generally about $25 minimums. And I saw craps at most casinos in Macau, including Wynn, MGM, both downtown and Cotai, and the Galaxy and the Venetian, though there was never more than one table, and it was usually sort of in the back in a corner. They're usually really lightly populated, and it's not hard to find a spot on the rail. What was interesting to me is that Chinese players bet completely differently from American players. So first of all, nobody plays the pass line. You only play the pass line when you're going to shoot. The shooter still goes around the table, but you only put that pass line bet out right when it's about to come to you. Instead, 95% of the bets on the table are the box numbers. So they all put those down before the point is set. And there's very little center action at all. And I never saw a feature bet space on the table. I never saw a field bet made. I never saw a dark side bet made. At one point I made a come bet, and I think the box man had to explain to the dealer what that even was. So pretty much just all plain box numbers. Mostly, just place bets. I think, people did buy when it was appropriate. As is somewhat well known, in Macau, there is no alcohol at the table, but you can get all the tea and hot milk that you want. I found Chinese craps gamblers, though, very nice. Everyone was still having a good time when the rolls were good. It was a little bit more of a tamped down mood. Certainly not a Vegas mood, but everyone was still clapping each other and that kind of thing. So I even got a standing ovation after my first table when I had a decent roll. So that was nice. A couple more quick hits. I read online to be wary of scammers or otherwise shady people. I encountered none of that kind of thing. There are pretty serious checkpoints onto all entrances of the gaming floors. So there's passport checks and metal detectors. Sometimes, if you're maybe a bit older looking, they're not really going to check your passport, but you do have to walk through the metal detector at least. And although table minimums for any game are rarely less than $25, there's plenty of machines. So roulette, blackjack, etc., that have minimums of $2 or $3. Overall, my impression of Macau is pretty mixed. I think I can only recommend it to somebody who's really looking for a cultural experience, I guess. If you're looking for a straight up good time as a Westerner, I think you should just stay in Vegas. I don't think you're going to enjoy Macau very much. But if you find yourself in the area near Macau, and if you're looking for 1 or 2 nights of a sort of weird, bizarro Vegas where their idea of a good time is staying up all night, drinking tea, and playing baccarat, I think it can be an interesting time.
Okay, thanks, Nate. So that kind of confirms, what we were thinking, right?
Right,
That at least as just a strict gambling trip, it might not be worth it for us at least. So,
Well, I don't know. I might want to stay up all night and drink tea.
Well, you can do that here. And
that's right.
I'll deal baccarat to you. Yeah, just come on over one night. Yeah.
We'll stay up all night. I'll just drink tea. Got bathroom break, tea,
That's
bathroom
right.
break, tea.
Player wins. And it sounds like Nate found craps at a lot of places too.
Yeah,
so
it
he was
seemed like
able
he had
to,
quite a few.
Yeah, maybe he was going to some different casinos than Vinny. So, yeah. All right, let's hear from Kelly.
Hey guys, it's Kelly from Utah. I haven't called in a while because I have not had anything exciting or interesting really to report on, but I've still been listening faithfully. But I wanted to call in today because, Mark, I was listening to the latest episode and somebody talked about how they had been listening to all of your episodes starting from episode number 1. And I could swear I heard you audibly cringe at the thought of that. And I just want to tell you that I did the same thing last year. And that was one of the most enjoyable things that I did at that time. I painted my office in my house and listened to like a dozen episodes that day and just, getting ready, cooking, house cleaning. And it was so enjoyable to have all of those episodes to listen to. And I was so disappointed when I was done and caught up. So don't ever cringe at the thought of that because those old episodes are still great. I also remember a caller recently asked about a roulette strategy, and I have one that I wanted to share for him. What I do is I play more like Mark. I'm real controlled and kind of systematic and bet the same way. So what I do is I've got about 25 numbers that I bet on out of the 38 numbers on the wheel. 25, 27, it ranges, but on any given spin, you stand to win about $10 if you bet 25 numbers, and I just bet straight up $1 on each. And it's low volatility, so you can sit at the table for a long time if you want to just enjoy the casino atmosphere, have a couple of cocktails, and, unless you have like 10 losses in a row, it really doesn't just kill your bankroll because you're bound to hit 2 out of 3 times. So I played on one of those bubble roulette machines one time, and it would not let me bet more than 25 numbers, and the message on the machine actually said, you can't do this because it lowers the volatility too much. But I've never been told I couldn't do it at a table. And finally, I heard you say Dr. Mike was going to be at Caesars for the Great Gift Wrap-Up at the beginning of December, and we are actually going to be staying at Caesars on December 7th, 8th, and 9th. And I'll keep an eye out on your Twitter page and listen to the next episode to see if Dr. Mike's going to be there the weekend before that or the weekend of the 7th when we're there. And if so, I'll keep an eye out to see if I can say hello. So hopefully I'll have a good story to report from my next trip, but if not, you guys enjoy your holidays. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Mike. So you will be in Vegas this weekend, the 6th, 7th, and 8th, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, late on the 6th.
Okay, right. That Friday night, right?
Mostly the 7th.
Okay, right. So yeah, Kelly, if you're staying at Caesar's Palace, check Twitter. But Mike, you should probably be playing at Caesar's that night, right?
Yeah,
of the 7th, Saturday night.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll be playing there off and on.
Yeah.
Probably going over to Planet Hollywood and Harrah's and Bally's maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, watch Twitter, Kelly, and look Dr. Mike up.
Yeah, Kelly brings up a good point. This podcast is really enhanced quite a bit if you've got paint fumes going on.
See, Kelly, I did groan because the thing is, when I think of the old episodes, all I can think of is, oh my gosh, that audio was so bad, especially, the first 10 or so. And then it wasn't even until, like we were in the 80s and 90s that we actually got this new equipment, right?
Well,
So
with paint fumes, it probably sounds like angels talking.
plus, I keep thinking about all the mistakes in the previous episodes, right? Just like when we were describing Ultimate Texas Hold'em and we got some of the rules wrong. Even this last episode, I'm paranoid about this. This last episode, there were a couple of mistakes. Jim from New York caught one of them, of course. He's always real good at that. So I went back and edited the show, to fix it because I'm so that's why I kind of, those old episodes, I haven't been able to bring myself to go back and listen to any of the real old ones.
That's the difference between you and I. You don't like mistakes, and I relish them. My whole life is pretty much a mistake.
So do you actually relish it, or you're just...
I just fall into it easily.
Okay, I see, because you're used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
The roulette system, that's not bad because it's kind of an interesting way to play aggressively, but conservatively at the same time, right? So you're making like 25 individual bets. You can stay there for a long time unless you have, like she said, a run of really unlucky spins. But
like 10 spins in a row where you're betting almost every number and it just happens the one comes up you don't have.
Yeah. But not bad if you just want to kill some time.
I wonder how she picks her 25.
Yeah, it's a good question. Is it just random? She gets them out there as fast as she can.
You just go 1 through 25.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It should be the same as any other 25.
Right.
That's what I would do is just toss the dealer a $25 chip. All right, 1 through 25. But, sir, you've got to actually put it out on the layout. Nope, just 1 through 25. That's it. You know it.
Is there a spot where I can just put this for 1 through 25?
Well, a single dollar bet on 1 through 25. It's a new spot on the layout.
If it was me, though, my advice would be bet 24 numbers and double up on one of them. Put $2 on one of them. And just, hope it hits.
It's a little more exciting.
It's a little more exciting. Come on, 12 red.
All right. I see a book in our future. I think we're going to be writing a book about all the possible bets you can make in roulette. It's endless. Oh, that book's going to be so big.
It's one of those big, heavy books that people use to press flowers and stuff
what's
like
this?
that.
They're looking through this. I'm a little confused. Why are there so many pages?
I bought this book because it looked big.
All right, next call.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Frank from St. Louis, calling you for a pre-trip coming up. I was in New Zealand earlier. I called your line this year. Let me give you a big shout-out for your 200th show coming up in the next few weeks. I've been out to Las Vegas about 30 times, and I don't know how many more times I'm going to go out there with the 000 roulette, 6 to 5 blackjack, parking fees, resort fees. I saw MGM cut their drink size down. But we're going to make one more try. A group of us are going out for our 60th birthdays. And Mark and Dr. Mike, I know you're in that age range. Come on out. On December 16th, we're going to do a strip walk. We're going to hit 36 casinos in one day by foot. The rule is you have to make one bet at each casino or take one drink. We have one guy that's going to try both. So I'll try to give you a trip report when it's done. Expect this to be about a 16-hour cruise. And one last thing on the Chargers, you don't have to worry about them going to London. If you do a little research on the Google, you'll find out they're coming to St. Louis.
Oh.
Love the show. Have a great Christmas. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. What do you think of that, Mike?
Well, we've talked about them going to St. Louis. St. Louis is a great town for sports. I'd hate to do that to St. Louis.
That would be terrible.
St. Louis, seriously, they're great sports fans in St. Louis.
I agree.
My mom's from Missouri. St. Louis
probably
is
the best baseball fans in the nation, I think. Yeah, they're
great
fantastic.
baseball fans, all sports. They love their sports in St. Louis. The last thing they need is the Chargers. The last thing.
So what did Frank say? 36 casinos in about 16 hours, and he's around our age?
Yeah.
Well, good luck, Frank.
He is my age if he's going for his 60th.
Especially to your friend who's going to make a bet and get a drink at each one. That's a little much.
Now, if he drinks a whole drink, if he gets a drink and takes a sip, maybe he can do it. But if you drink the whole drink and it's a real drink, that's 36 drinks.
No, I don't think so.
That's going to be rough.
All right. Well,
Bud Light.
Let us. Even so, if a Bud Light 36.
Could I get one of those watered down? Could I get Bud Light extra ice? Fill it full.
All right. Well, let us know how it goes, Frank. All right. Next up is our buddy Taylor.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Taylor from New Mexico, calling in from Green Valley Ranch. Last day of the trip, so doing some day drinking. Two things I want to say. One, Harrah has been having an existential crisis. She liked being known as the girlfriend from whom the royal was stolen by her boyfriend and never hit a royal. Now that she's hit a royal, she doesn't know what she is anymore. Second, I've been playing video poker, and I'm kind of debating between lunch and video poker, and I kind of chose video poker. When you go to Vegas and you talk about how you guys always skip meals, the question is, do you even feel hungry and choose craps over lunch or dinner, or is it that you don't even think about it when you're playing craps? Listeners are wondering. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Taylor, I'll tell you, for better or worse, Dr. Mike and I both can go a long time without eating.
A long time.
And sure, we get hungry, but we don't get to a point where we can't function. We're so hungry,
Yeah, we
or
don't
we're
get
angry.
lightheaded.
You know, it's or just even I can't think about anything else. I don't know. It's like I said, better or worse. I don't know how healthy that is for the long stretches that sometimes we don't eat. So no, if we're hungry at a craps table, we'll generally continue to play craps, and we will only eat when we're moving from one casino to another or something like that. Right. Oh, you know, we should get something to eat.
Yeah.
And we certainly wouldn't leave in the middle of a hot roll or even, a
I never even think
roll.
about it. I'm pretty used to on my daily life. I usually go most days about 15 hours without eating.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's not healthy for either one of us.
No,
but it's
look at me.
I don't think about it.
Yeah,
it doesn't. So
I mean, I eat once a day.
I can kind of understand where Tara is coming from. Now that she's got the royal flush, it's like, who is she? She doesn't know what her purpose is. I have a feeling that'll happen to us if the Padres ever win the World Series, because our whole lives, we've just, that's the once with their World Series, I don't know, we'll just be walking around in a daze. We won't even know what to wish for anymore.
That's not happening, Mark. So you don't have to worry about that because it's never happening.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for saying that.
We can't live long enough for the Padres to win a World Series.
Good. I feel better now. I'm glad you said something. Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Peter Adams. I just got out of Rhythm City Casino in Davenport, Iowa. And I was a part of something I've never really seen, and I thought it was very, very weird and I think downright terrible customer service. So I was playing $10 face-up high-gal poker, and there were about 4 players of us. None of us were big players by any means. I think the biggest bet per hand would be $20. So, any casino really shouldn't sweat the action. So everything was good. The vibe was good. The dealer was great. It was a pretty fun time. And then the pit boss comes over and says, yeah, the dealer set the cards wrong like 12 minutes ago with the hands. And the way he explained it, it was a very odd setup. It was something with like a full house with 10s on top, but very weird. And, with how house rules go, it can kind of go anyway. But basically he goes, yeah, so 3 of you need to pay back your $10, and your $15. And we're like, well, which 3? Well, you didn't really have that. And it was very accusatory manner, not necessarily like, hey, sorry about this, something weird that kind of happened. We're going to have to look at it. And then eventually it comes to go and goes, yeah, you, and you. Well, one of the guys had gotten up and left the table, and then me and the woman to the next to me were the other 2 people that owed the casino money. I asked if I could see any proof of this, and they said no. And I said, well, then why should I give you my money? And then they were like, so you're not going to pay you? And I said, no. And then the woman next to me at one point in time had given them the money back, but the guy who had already left didn't. So she made a very fair and accurate point of, why do I need to pay you? I thought this was really, really odd that they were sweating $35 for a red chip player. And I think this is the kind of experience that if someone's new to gambling, that would really turn them off to it. I just thought it was terrible customer service. And it made me very uncomfortable and kind of how, accusatory they were with everything. And I do believe in gambling karma, and I felt bad for our dealer. So the $10 in question, I did get up on the table, left, and cashed out, but I did give it back to the dealer before I left. But I just was curious of your thoughts on this. Love the show. Hope you guys are happy Thanksgiving. Thanks. Bye.
This is a terrible story.
Yeah, and we've heard stories like this before. And I wonder why casinos do it. I remember there was one time a pit boss or somebody said, well, we're legally required to do it. We could lose our license if we don't. And that doesn't ring true to me.
No.
I mean, I don't know for sure.
It's very strange that a casino would sweat $35. I mean, mistakes happen, right? I mean, we see them every week.
Yeah.
We see mistakes every single week.
Yeah.
Some in our favor, some against us.
Yeah.
Now, when mistakes happen, if they're not caught right away, I mean, immediately, why rehash that? Why go back? I mean, they're going to get those people's money anyway.
Yeah, and maybe just make a note of it if you're the casino.
You'd probably make a note of it, and then, it'd probably be the dealer you'd be saying when he went on break, hey, you set this hand wrong, be more careful, watch this, something like that. To go after the players, that's ridiculous.
Well, it sounds like Peter did not give them the $10 back. So it's not something, I mean, they asked for it, but they didn't force him to return it.
Right. And then he didn't say anything about, I was thinking he was going to say, well, they told me, okay, don't give back, but you got to leave your bar.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
And another thing I wonder is, are casinos free rolling, right? In other words, if the mistake had hurt the player, would they have refunded the money?
Right.
You have no way of knowing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you have
unless you actually see that happen on a regular basis at the casino.
You have no way of knowing that they would say. Although, casinos, like a lot of times, like the other night, somebody walked away from the table and they actually had left a bet on the table, which won. And then I saw him lock it up and put it off to the side.
I see that a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that belongs to so-and-so. And the pit was actually like, okay, now, did he buy in for, he was trying to make sure he had the right name because it wasn't a regular.
Oh, okay.
But he had a card, so they were looking for the right name.
Yeah.
So I wonder how far they go if he did find that out, if they call the guy up and say, oh, you got $20 coming.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or do they just like make it for a show, and then later I'll lock it up?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. And it's going to depend on the jurisdiction as well, too, what the law is. But, yeah. Yeah, well, that's too bad. At least you didn't have to give your money back, Peter.
And it's terrible customer service.
Yeah,
that's the main. To even bring it up is a terrible.
Can't they just
service.
write that? I mean, how often just pay? They must have some discretion.
Well, remember the other night at Jack in the Box when you ordered a small soda and she gave you a medium?
Yeah, she said, I accidentally filled up the medium, so I'm going to give it to you, but I'm not going to charge you for a medium. I'll just charge you for the small. So she just gave it to me.
What if she had said, well, I accidentally filled up the medium. You owe me 28 more cents.
That's right.
Come on.
Okay.
I would have told her, look, you suck out the difference between the medium and then I'll just take
and then fill out whatever form you need to with the Jack in the Box corporate.
I mean, seriously, that's a true story. She did.
Yeah. Right.
We were
a simple example,
we
but yeah.
making that up. But she just like, I gave you the wrong one. Don't worry, I didn't charge you for it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, nice.
That's hey, we set the hand wrong. It was our fault.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It was their fault. All right, we could go on and on.
You should have called the Jack in the Box back when you got home and said, hey, thanks. I appreciate your honesty and your fairness and everything. But that little extra soda made me pee my pants. You owe me a pair of pants. And demand it.
I got to think of that next time. Yeah, you're always thinking, Dr. Mike. That's good. All right, next call.
Hey, guys. This is Jackson from Northern California. Got a little trip report for you here from the Nugget in Reno. Went up there for 4 days with a couple buddies of mine. Great trip. We got there about 2 in the morning and played double deck $10 table till about 5:30 in the morning, where I tripled my $80 buy-in. Started the next day down at the same table. Stayed pretty consistent for 4 or 5 hours. Then later that night, I played craps for the first time. After listening to this podcast for a while, I finally felt confident to walk up to the table. Bought in for $175, and I stayed on that table for 7 hours.
Nice.
Approximately 8 p.m. we started playing. We stopped playing like 3:30ish in the morning, only leaving briefly to run to the restroom. And, man, it was the best time I have ever had in a casino. There's still the fire bet at the Nugget in Reno, and it's a 3-point fire bet, which we hit 5 times. And I mean, the hard ways were everything was hitting. We were going to break the Nugget. They were just giving us all the money. And the pit bosses were great. They were having fun with us, joking around. All the dealers were having a good time. And then the next day, we went over to the Grand Sierra and played their $20 buy-in blackjack tournament. where all three of us that were up there together all made it to the semifinals. And my buddy ended up walking away with $210. He came in second place. Won in Keno, even. Who wins in Keno, right? I won 2 games in Keno, and, it was just a great trip. We had to battle a snowstorm to get home, but we made it through it. And, love what you guys do. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, great story for a first craps experience.
Right.
$175 you play for 7 hours.
He's hooked.
That's fantastic. Yeah, sorry. Again, we always apologize when we get somebody addicted to craps. But that's great.
Yeah, you know what he did is that's called hitting the superfecta.
Really?
When you win all the games you play, you win, and one of them's Keno. It's called the superfecta.
That's always the hard one. It's like the triple in batting for the cycle.
Right.
It's like, it's always the hardest one to get.
If it wasn't for Keno, I would have.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have hit the superfecta.
That's right. All right, last call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Mike from Charlotte, North Carolina. Got a little mini trip report to Harrah's Cherokee. Played the new Roll to Win craps game. It's kind of cool. The tables, all the lights, it looks neat. The dice seem to roll the same. They definitely land a bit harder and make a different sound than a normal craps table. But the thing I didn't like about it, everyone's just kind of sitting around. No real camaraderie going on. When I shot the dice, I made a point, and then on the come out, I threw 4 sevens in a row. And the dude next to me, gave me a fist bump, but everyone else at the table, I'm assuming they won, but not one person made a sound. Very bizarre, not the same and as fun as normal craps. So take that for what's worth. Also going to be heading to Vegas in February. And here's something cool I didn't know you could do. My girlfriend and I were able to combine our Caesars Rewards card and get some free rooms. So keep that in mind. If you're a listener with not a lot of points, you can team up with a friend and combine your points. All right, guys, love the show, and talk to you some other time.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Mike. That's a good suggestion. I have not made reservations online in a long time, but I remember it used to be if you were going with somebody, there was a field there where you could fill in their total rewards number.
To combine your points.
Yeah.
We did that years and years ago, with my dad and stuff. Remember?
Right, yeah.
We'd use his points and my points, and we'd get a room or something.
So I'm assuming you still can do that online. If not, again, call and say, hey, there are 2 of us. Can we,
Right. Well, when you say
forces?
that, when you call online, I'm like, every time I make a reservation, I'm like, well, I need another room because my mom and dad are coming.
Mm-hmm.
And they always, what's their rewards numbers?
Okay.
Because that factors in.
Yeah,
right?
that helps to maybe get a comp.
Yeah,
that's good. And then as far as the roll to win, again, that's that automated craps table, that does have a dealer, but all the bets are electronic there. It's kind of similar to the report we got from Alex on the last episode. I think it really is going to depend on the people, though, because we have had some reports that say, oh, yeah, it's very lively and just like other craps games. So that's going to depend. But at the same time, a game like that might draw people who are not as socially demonstrative, as others. They don't want to be.
Right.
So, that could be one of the reasons they're going.
That's why most people like machines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even slot players, they like it because they can sit there and they don't have to interact with anybody. They can talk to the person next to them, but they don't have to.
Yeah.
And they don't have to say anything. They don't have to make quick decisions, although in this game you kind of do.
Although, it's interesting because at the D and the Strat, and on Vital Vegas podcast recently, he was talking about it, they have introduced individual bubble craps machines, right? Where it's just you, and there is no time limit. You can you can do as fast or as slow as you want.
That's perfect. So
that would be,
So years from now, when you're laying in some cocoon thing with all these electrodes coming in and out of your body.
Like the Matrix?
Yeah, like the Matrix, and you're some virtual guy, you can just go sit at one of those machines and no one will bother you.
That's great.
No one will unplug you.
So you're in the Matrix, but you're still going to just an individual bubble craps machine. Excellent.
Because it's what you're used to.
It's excellent. Hey, let's listen to a gambling scene. This is a suggestion we got from listener Doug, almost 3 years ago. I've been collecting these gambling scene suggestions that we've got. So
mulling them over. Every day Mark goes over it. I wonder if we should play this one. Yeah. Let's give this some time. It needs to stew a little.
This clip is from the TV show Entourage. And for those who never saw it, it follows the adventures of a movie star named Vincent Vinny Chase. and his childhood friends and brother, basically his entourage, and the adventures that they have in Hollywood. And
I thought you were going to say Macau.
No. And another regular character is Vinny's agent, Ari Gold. So that was basically the main cast. It's interesting because I started thinking about it. I'm not sure, is Entourage a good show or not? I kind of enjoyed watching it, but after each episode, it's like, I don't know. So I can't say that it's a good show or not, but I watched it. I watched every episode.
Well, it probably depends on the person, right?
Yeah, it depends on your mood.
It's one of those shows that some people like and some won't.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
As opposed to some shows where it's like, that's not really good and everyone agrees. And other ones like, that's great. We got to watch that every week.
That's true. Well, anyway, in this episode, they're all in Vegas playing at the Hard Rock. And Ari, again, the agent, he's upset because he's down a ton of money. And Vinny agrees to combine their money and play blackjack to try to recoup their losses.
Familiar.
So they've got a combined bankroll. They're at a blackjack table. There's one other player at the table, a stranger that's not part of the group, to Vinny's left. And Vinny sits down and bets $75,000 on a hand. So let's listen.
Is he at a $5 table?
I don't know what the limit is.
$75,000.
I don't know what the limits are.
It's the $75,000 to $78,000 table.
It could be. I could be. I'll check the video a little closer.
Feeling good, Ari. Let me sit.
Ari,
How much you down?
207.
We can get that back.
You're gonna get thrown out of here. Calm
Just
down.
a little upset.
He's dealt a pair of 8s with the dealer showing a 5.
Split them.
How much is that? 75 grand. Now 150.
He gets another 8 on the first hand.
Gotta do it. Split them again.
I once saw a guy split 6 times straight.
So now he gets a 10 on the first hand for a total of 18, and a 9 on the second hand for a total of 17, and a 3 on the third hand for a total of 11.
No choice. Double down.
Vinny,
300 grand.
we're gonna win it all back in this hand.
Yeah, or my kids are going to community college.
I'll take this hand myself if you want.
So Vinny has offered Ari out of their pooled money, but Ari gestures that he wants to keep the money together. And he's dealt a 3 on the third hand for a total of 14.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'd like to split these, please.
You're gonna split kings?
Yeah, what's it to you?
I got 150 grand on this hand. I want you f***ing up my card.
Sir, you have to let him play his way.
Well, he's playing like a f***ing idiot.
Sir.
Ari, calm down.
Ari, relax. You're gonna get thrown out of the casino with 300,000 on the table.
We'll take
Calm
care of
down.
it later, Ari.
So this other player splits kings and gets a 10 on each of his hands.
Looks like I knew what I was doing,
No,
huh?
it looks like you took her braid card.
Dealer has 11.
It looks like she would have had 21. I think an apology is in order.
So the dealer draws a 3 for a total of 14.
Somebody shoot me. Put me out of my f***ing misery.
If only it weren't a crime.
Ari, remain positive. Summon the cards you desire.
Get a higher power from above.
Come on.
Can't hurt to try.
Please, God, give us another 10.
Am I getting that apology?
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come here. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it.
And Ari leans over and kisses the other player on the top of his bald head because the dealer has busted and everybody at the table wins. The other player at the table is character actor Paul Wilson. I'm sure you'd recognize him if you saw him. He's just been in a ton of stuff, probably best known for playing Paul on Cheers, one of the minor characters, but he was a regular, especially towards the later seasons.
Yep, I remember him.
Yeah, so anyway, he's the player there at the end. So everybody won, everybody was happy.
Hey, and it brings up a good point, when you're criticizing somebody's move.
There you go.
I mean, that's a terrible move, right?
Right.
But, sometimes it actually does help you, and sometimes it hurts you.
Right.
My dad used to get so upset about bad players, and I'd always say, Dad, sometimes it helps you, though,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you kept track your whole life, and you knew you were down for bad moves.
You've got to keep that in mind. And that's why some people have trouble playing blackjack because they just can't get past that. And I can understand it.
Sure.
But yeah, honestly, in the long run, it doesn't matter. So.
I love the player who, always wants to play third base.
Mm-hmm.
That way nobody can make a bad move. But the people in front of you, if they make bad moves, that affects your third base.
Yeah, it's all in people's heads, right?
Yeah.
They think third base is really the one
like
that matters.
Some magical thing. I'm at third base.
Yeah.
I wish the Padre could get to third base.
It doesn't. I don't think I've ever seen it. I've been to many, many games live. I don't think I've ever seen a Padre at third.
There's been a lot of games where no one has ever made it to third. They've had a lot of shutouts against them.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. A donation from John, thanks very much, and a recurring donation from Kurt. Thank you. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We'd love getting your feedback. All right, Dr. Mike, what do you got?
I don't have too much. I'm just going to say that I am going to be in Vegas this weekend.
Right.
But we're going to get there very late Friday, so I don't know what's going to happen Friday night.
Okay, and you're leaving early Sunday as well. So
and we're probably leaving fairly early Sunday. Maybe not super early, but fairly early.
All right, so Saturday is really the time that you're going to be doing
and the only time when I basically am locked up is during the gift exchange, which I'm going to try and go to at 9 in the morning.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll only take an hour. And then for dinner from 7 to 9 at night.
Okay, so for people...
The rest of the time, I pretty much hopefully will be playing.
Sounds good. For people who want to meet up with Dr. Mike, just follow our Twitter account, and I will tweet his location at any time.
And hopefully I won't disappoint.
Yeah. No, you never do, Doctor.
No, that happens.
All right, well, good luck. Have a good trip.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.